Victor, fancy meeting you here.
It's a small world. I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
I know it's been a few weeks.
Yes.
And
Other side of the pond?
outside of the pond was Barcelona.
And London.
And London. That's right. I forgot about London.
I just bumped into you there as well.
That was a bump-in moment, yes.
Yeah.
But I got to meet you in Barcelona.
That's right. AppSec Europe.
Media connection. I appreciate you and what you do and how you think. Even in the short period of time we had to chat. So I'm excited to see you in Vegas.
Likewise.
And, we've been talking about doing a cross-show episode. You talk about what you're doing, I tell you what I'm doing.
Yes.
But while we're here in Vegas,
Hacker Summer Camp.
Hacker Summer Camp, Black Hat, Defcon, all the other fun stuff going on here.
Yes.
We'll do a little recap of some of those things. But
let's do it.
So for my audience,
yes,
maybe a bit of background on yourself.
Yes. So my name is Viktor Petersson. Done a few startups over the years. My most recent company is an SBOM artifact platform to manage the lifecycle SBOMs called SBOMify. That's what I'm working on now. And I've immersed myself into the world of SBOMs for a year and a half or so by now, and really started nerding out about these JSON files that really shouldn't be exciting, but it's what you can do with them, not the file.
Can be exciting.
It's what you can do with them, but it enables it's exciting, not so much the file themselves.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, and I got a podcast, this is a crossover, called Nerding Out with Victor, that you can find on all platforms, where I interview basically my litmus test for every episode is like, would I watch this myself? And so it's all people in the security world, tech world. I've had the leaders in the SBOM world. I've had people from all walks of life in tech, and just nerd out with them for an hour of video, and and people super like it. So that's brief for my backstory.
Nice one. I'll do the same for you.
Yes, do for you.
So I have a bit of gray hair, 30 plus years tinkering in cyber security, and some IT in there as well. Building apps, securing apps, taking them to market. And now I talk about all that stuff on podcast. So I don't know.
That's what we're here.
I don't know how many hundreds of products I brought to market with Symantec, and then I went to a few startups to do the same. And I think the thing I like to say is Symantec bought a lot of companies and products.
Yes.
I built the homegrown stuff. Very few things got built inside.
Right. But the ones that did were you.
I had the fun of doing that, which a lot of challenges getting budgets and teams, and anyway, it was a lot of fun. Great experience.
Yes.
And I think like a project manager, everything looks like a project to me.
Yeah.
And so that serves me well on some of the things that I talk about on my podcast, which my co-founder Marco and I started ITSPmagazine 11 years ago here at Black Hat.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
You've produced a lot more than I have by now.
I think I have. Well, there's 300, just shy of 300 on the new platform, and then I had maybe 100 on the previous platform.
That's a lot of content,
And almost 3,000 across all the shows.
Oh, wow.
So a few episodes to listen to there. And,
few more than I have.
It's a lot of work, as you know.
Yes, it is.
But on my show, I look at things operationally. So as a project, as a program, and how do we take cool security technologies and enable teams to get the value out of those things in a way that supports the business objective. So I'm talking to, I'm not one. I hopefully speak well to CISO and I'm not doing the speaking. I have guests on who have been CISOs or look at risk or look at whatever and help them hopefully educate or at a minimum make people rethink how
it's the outside view, right?
It's
like you're looking at stuff from a different angle and repackaging it. Yeah.
So I have a vision that security can actually make the business better.
Oh, I am a strong believer in that.
Not just be a cost center that protects the business. So.
Timely.
Yeah.
I think that's really, we have seen a shift driven largely by regulation, I would argue, in the last year. We spoke about this in Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
Where security no longer is a nice to have. It's shifting to a must-have from a regulatory perspective. And particularly you see that in Europe right now, with CRA coming through.
Yeah.
That's a big driver. And kind of looping that back what we're saying here to like SBOMs, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like I see a world where in the coming years, SBOMs will be the vehicle that will be part of all the compliance frameworks. So like tying into what you're saying about security not being a nice to have, security being not a tick box, but it's a mandatory thing that you do. And once you get that, it becomes operational. And that's important, right?
And certainly from a marketing perspective, we've seen it shift from we're not going to share anything that we do with security to we want to expose, or not expose, but demonstrate that we do things properly, whatever that means, as a differentiator. So a market advantage.
That has always been the problem with security. I've spoken about this in one of my other companies, Screenly. We spoke about security a lot. So my company do secure signage. And we talk this a lot because every single company out there, they will say they're secure. But what does that mean? Right. Saying they're secure means absolutely nothing. Yeah. No single company out there will say we're insecure. Right? So quantifying that and that transparency element of that is so important. And forcing that, you can see things like secure by design. There's a meetup here tonight in Vegas about secure by design, but these vehicles are driving change to the industry. And I think that's super important.
Yeah, and it goes from what does my operations look like? Am I picking the right software to run the business? Am I building the right software to run the business? Am I monitoring all of that? Am I responding properly and in time? Are we going to be in business tomorrow? Or are we going to hit?
How is your supply chain looking? Right? How is your software supply chain looking? It's not a trivial problem, right? And there are definitely companies out there that are proactive about this, that are really doing a good job, but this will not change without a regulatory change, right? And the compliance change, right? Because security is market failure. That's it. It's never going to solve itself without a legal push. Right? So I think that's why it's really timely to do all these security conversations, because we're finally starting to see the tides turning, and it's actually becoming. And I see this firsthand in Screenly. Like the conversation you're having are so different today than 5 years ago, because people ask the right questions. They never used to do that, and that's a very good thing, I think.
Yeah, and one of the things I'm interested in your perspective on what you've seen just being here the last couple of days. I know you haven't been to Black Hat proper, but you're heading to Defcon soon, so I want to get your perspective on that. But some of the things, Marco and I did an webinar kind of predicting what might we see in here, and of course, we couldn't avoid agentic AI.
Of course. Mandatory buzzword. No, we ticked that off for this episode.
Unavoidable. One thing, and certainly that was part of pretty much every conversation. I just recorded a session looking at that, and my other guest, Ginny, his perspective was we really need to be focusing on securing AI. And I was telling him, I'm sure there are vendors here. I didn't cross them this week, but I'm sure there are vendors here that do that. I know there are. I didn't have a chance to talk to them. A lot of what I saw was how to use AI to secure the business and make security operations better. And it ranged from very specific, I have this task I can automate with some agent or micro agent, to I've built a platform where you can do anything you want. Right? Run multiple LLMs, create multiple agents, orchestrate that stuff however you like. So a wide range of what's possible. Yes. And the point I want to make with that is that what's inspiring to me is that AI, in my sense, or my view, allows us to explore.
Yes.
Allows us to explore in a fairly safe way. Mm-hmm. I think we can set up environments to see by pulling this lever, creating this thing, attaching that data, or orchestrating this. We can look at different ways to solve a problem that may have solved previously using old technologies, or we're bound to legacy systems that prevent us from doing certain things. So I just have this view that we can take a step back and rethink how we're running the business, how we deploy all of these systems, and how we deploy the data and where it's located, and how we segment it, and how we put policies around that, and how we protect it and detect and monitor and respond. All this stuff, every element of that can be rethought, and potentially in a way that's not too disruptive.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack in that, right? Because first of all, we have never lived through a time where it's cheaper and easier to produce code, right, of various quality. right? Working with any of these LLMs, I best describe it as you work with a bipolar person, and it's simultaneously the most intelligent person you've ever met and the most stupid person you've ever met, and you never know who's going to reply. And that's how I see working with these tools, right? And what that means is that we can generate so much code so quickly, and we can do prototypes so quickly, and that's fantastic. And you can solve internal problems and you can build internal applications that were not cost effective to do prior, right? So you can solve like very niche problems for internal problems. That's fantastic. The problem is when you try to productize those and put them on the public internet, and if you haven't put the right guardrails in place, because that's really what it comes. It kind of ties full circles to supply chain security, right? Because these LLMs will happily just chuck in anything in there, and they will.
Depends what they're trained on too.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're trained on GitHub, and GitHub is full of both ridiculously good code and ridiculously bad code, right? So putting those plumbing and that framework in place is so paramount to getting a good outcome, right? And I've played a lot with these tools over the last year, and that's what I keep coming back to. Like, you need to start with the guardrails. Like, if you start with the guardrails and you get that right, then you can start doing interesting things, and you can do well.
At least you're not going to fall off the cliff.
No, exactly. But like, I'll give you a very stupid example: package management. These LLMs, like, they will happily just edit your log files and just like inject crap in there, and you're like, hold on a second, like, I don't want you to deal with package management. There are package managers to do this, and they work better for other reasons. Like, how do I know? Like, when you ask to add a package, it will add an old version, for instance, which is probably vulnerable to issues, right? So again, coming down to this like guardrails to do it right, and building the blueprints basically the blueprint that you would do when you would by yourself, but you do it you have to basically force the agents to actually do that for you well. So I think there's obviously it's a fantastic time to build software, and it's amazing what these tools can do. And this is just the beginning, of course. Like, how old is like these tools, like Cursor and these tools? They're like 2 years old, if that, right? And the trajectory, how we've changed how we work with these tools are fantastic. Like, they're so fast, and we are definitely seeing a world where, and I envision in the world, at least, this is a bit of tangential, but where every engineer that I have will have 5-10 agents working for them, and maybe they become a supervisor of these agents rather than ICs per se, right? That's that you have an agent for security, you have an agent for UX, you have an agent for design, and they will combine together and work as a team essentially, and then an engineer will actually supervise them. That's the way I envision.
Vibe coding.
Well, I mean, I guess it is, but like it's structured vibe coding, or
perhaps.
Vibe coding with guardrails.
Perhaps. Yeah, and I think that's interesting because we'll see a lot of these capabilities. I mean, we see it now with services and APIs, right? It's just the next level of that.
Yes.
But at scale, I think.
Yeah.
And because everything will be so small and purpose built, we'll use more of these things to do bigger and better things.
Yeah. But
and then the engineer kind of picking and choosing and guiding and orchestrating to achieve something that is pretty cool, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, I expect throughput and output of engineers to like 10x, right? Every engineer will 10x their output because all the busy work is there. They become architects.
Right.
So they just, here are the big picture we need to accomplish from a business logic perspective. Don't really care about the small details, whilst having other agents to do code audits and security audits and making sure that no silly mistakes are being done there. Like, you don't have XSS and you don't have like other silly security mistakes that these LLMs will happily do for you because they just solve the problem as quick as possible, right?
Yeah, so that whole, this might be a rabbit hole, but anyway, the whole development life cycle, perhaps there's a way to bring in some checks and balances where, you're using multiple things to validate and check and test.
But not only that, like, they're also fantastic to refactor legacy code. Right? So like, because that's in the enterprise world in particular, the enterprise do not live in the JavaScript world where every framework has a 3-month life cycle, right? After 3 months you have to rewrite everything because it's not cool anymore.
Exactly.
These enterprise applications, they have a 15, 20-year life cycle. Rewriting that is not a trivial matter, right? It's a lot of busy work, but these tools...
Resilience is paramount.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but these tools can help with that, the refactoring and update. So I think that's the life cycle there, and I hope the world is moving towards a more longevity framework and thinking of software and life cycle of, let's not just fix this right now with a single JavaScript update. I'm just picking on JavaScript world because the JavaScript world tends to be the one where things churn quickest.
Right.
But so I think that's hopefully what we'll see here, with more people thinking more about longer life cycles, in particular.
So I want to make one more comment on this, and you can chime in, of course, but kind of the guardrails thing. The other thing I pulled from this past few days is don't necessarily chase this new world and forget that you do have legacy stuff. And so I heard a few times, don't forget the basics, right? Kind of along the guardrails thing.
Yes.
And I think it wasn't in the context of while you're doing AI, don't forget the basics, but I think it's important, but it's don't take investments to secure AI and forget that you didn't get approval for budget to segment your network. It's still flat or whatever, right?
Yeah, right.
So I think there's a message there for CISOs to say, don't forget your real role in protecting the business, not just the next thing that's coming. So
sprinkling AI on garbage in, garbage out at the end of the day, right? If sprinkling AI on garbage is still garbage, right? So you still need to do the fundamentals right. And be guardrails on the network or be guardrails in your software, they're still guardrails, right? LMs might help you solve for those problems, but you as an architect must still know what you're solving for. And those must be business objectives that you're solving for, more so than sprinkling the latest cool tool on the platform, right?
Exactly.
We easily get caught up in the hype cycles.
I know.
And it's important to take a step back, to your point. It's just like, what are we actually trying to solve for? And I think that's where we need to go back to basics in many ways.
Exactly. So a lot of the talks here are around research, findings of vulnerabilities, findings of flaws in business logic, finding of flaws in application, whatever it is, and even culture, even how we manage our teams. Gets even deeper.
Oh yeah.
When you go to Defcon.
Oh yes.
So tell me what you hope to see there. Is it going to be all AI in there too? I mean, they have the villages with the aerospace village and the Hackasat and the ICS village. I mean, which is a lot of hardware.
I have a soft spot for social engineering and lockpicking.
Social engineering village.
I mean, because that's really, AI doesn't change that. It makes like deep fakes and stuff like that easier, but humans tend to always be the weakest link. And like you can find vulnerabilities, that's fine, but if you look at many of the attacks, the humans are the weakest link. And to your point about culture, that's culture. Security is culture. Security software can help you mitigate that, but training and culture is a DNA in the culture that you must get right. And it's very difficult to do at scale, but you need to get it in right early. Right. And I think that's why I love coming to Defcon, because it really, it makes you challenge assumptions.
Yes.
And there are talks about hacking AI and hacking LLMs, jailbreaking, all that stuff you expect.
Right.
But I love the hacker mindset.
Yes.
And that's what like brings me back to Defcon. It's just that lockpicking is a good example of this.
Right.
It's just perception of security.
Yes.
Locks are not secure. Like anybody with a little bit of lockpicking training can pick a lot of locks, but we have the illusion that locks are secure.
Right.
Be an RFID lock in a hotel room or a lock at your home, like they're actually not that secure once you unpeel the onion, right? And you see what's inside.
Yep.
And that's what really gets me going back here. It's just, you go to talk, you're like, huh.
Right.
Of course. Why? I've just seen the illusion.
Think about things differently based on that understanding now.
That's it. And it applies to everything.
Yeah.
And it's IoT security is another good example of that. There are a lot of talks at Defcon about IoT security. It's something I've been passionate about for a long time. I've been in the IoT space for a long time, and IoT security is something that we haven't really, it's always been crap. Let's just call it what it is, right? It's, again, a market failure.
There hasn't been a driver.
Yes, very much so. Again, it's a market failure, right? No consumer will pay a subscription service for their smart devices.
Right.
So the security must be priced in somehow.
Right.
And that's the tricky part, right? And that's why, putting my hat from Screenly on, the reality of the signage market is that much of the market is dominated by end of life Android players from China because they are cheapest. They get deployed. Google washed their hands because it's end of life. We already told you this. But there are no shortage of resellers out there that will happily sell you this stuff on the premise that it's secure, which in reality it probably isn't, right? So IoT security, again, is like one of those things let's just fix it. The internet of shit that's been around for too long, let's fix it.
Yeah, and it touches every aspect. So IT gets a lot of attention. IoT less, OT a bit more. But if you look at all of those, they touch pretty much everything.
I mean,
from railroads to
Absolutely.
airlines to hotels and hospitality. I mean, I've been here where the fire alarm is going off, not because there's a fire. Somebody here
close
is
to Defcon.
Having fun.
Yeah. No, but I mean, we're in Vegas, right? So
Yeah.
one of my favorite anecdotes for IoT security is from Vegas.
Oh yeah.
And it was a story, I don't know how many years ago, it's quite a while.
tank?
The fish tank. Yes, I love that story, right?
Good story.
It's, for those who haven't heard the story, one of the casinos here in Vegas got compromised because of a smart fish tank. Somebody decided that they needed a smart fish tank in their casino. They hooked it up on the Wi-Fi, and if not mistaken, the attack vector was in the Bluetooth stack, so they managed to hack the device over to the Bluetooth stack, and then they could jump on the network. So the same goes for every IoT device, right? It doesn't. The IoT device itself may not be the target. It's a stepping stone to the target, right? And it can give you a persistent attack vector into the network. And again, if these are end-of-life devices, which they often are, or devices with very little consideration of security in the first place,
Exactly.
We talk about this, and
I know.
and it goes even for the compliance framework, right? I was going to write an op-ed piece in one of the industry articles about this. People talk about SOC 2, ISO, and all these, and HIPAA, all the security frameworks, right? Here's the dirty secret. For IoT device vendors, you can pass all these compliance framework with your device running Windows 95. I kid you not, because none of them will actually check for this. And every single, or a lot of enterprise buyers will just tick the box. Oh, they're compliant.
Compliance tick box.
That's it.
That's it.
So we need to have more savvy conversation about this stuff.
Exactly.
So I think this is good shining the spotlight on this problem, really.
That's right. That's right.
So that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. That's why we come to, and then for my audience, I think a lot of them know this already. And for them, it's about, well, what's the new thing that's going to trigger me to think differently? What's the new thing? And oftentimes it's connected to new technologies that get deployed. I mean, cloud, mobile, some of those things came out. AI is the latest one. And it's trying to stay on top of that change while keeping the business resilient, letting it grow, letting it innovate, and kind of being part of that wave. And hopefully these talks and presentations give a lever
I know,
to the
but
executives to actually say, this is what we're seeing.
But for systems in particular, right, it's signal to noise ratio. That's a big problem, right?
Exactly.
How can you figure out what actually you should devote your attention to? That's not a trivial problem, and that's definitely somewhere AI can action it. So I think, coming back to AI,
It's
There's
always back there.
Always back to it, yeah.
Oh man. Well, Victor, it's good to see you, man.
Likewise.
Great to
Catch you
chat with you.
at the next show.
We finally made this happen.
We'll
do more.
We will definitely do
wherever
more.
we see each other again. I don't know where you're headed next.
Where am I heading next? I'm not doing any conference in the next few months, so maybe the next year.
Maybe the next year. There's RSA.
There's RSA. Maybe I do RSA.
We do RSA.
Oh, I submitted a CFP Black Hat Europe, which I think is in
December.
December, yeah.
December.
So maybe I'll do that.
There's another Black Hat event called Sector
Okay.
in Toronto.
Okay.
And then, there's always the OWASP stuff.
Yes. You know what I'm bummed about? There is no SBOMorama this year.
No?
That's a conference CISSP put together, which was I gave a remote talk last year, but I think they killed it this year because of the CISSP restructuring.
He's our good friend has moved on, I think.
Alan Friedman has moved on. I'm supposed to meet him sometime here.
Mr. SBOM himself.
It's the SBOM himself. He's doing a talk at Defcon.
I saw him in
Sunday.
passing and I couldn't stop him because I was recording. But he is here.
I know he's here. I
I've seen
texted him. I know he's here, but I haven't actually seen him yet. But yes, but that's a shame. Obviously that conference stopped, but that was a great way for the industry to like compare notes and get together.
Exactly.
And he's up
That's
the bar.
important. That's important. I'll close my final thought in that we talked a lot about technology and research and risks, and for me, ultimately, it's about what everybody's hearing in the background. These tens of thousands of people walking by, all getting together, thinking differently amongst themselves, sharing with each other.
Yes.
From what they heard on stage, what they're experiencing in their own world, be it personal or business or otherwise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're here. That's why we're here.
Exactly why we're here.
And that's why challenge your assumptions. That's it. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome, brother. Good to see you.
Talk about it. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Good.